In this video, I'll be explaining how to use an Arduino Mega incorporated with a 16 relay Arduino board to control some 2 LED lights. Specifically, this is designed for case CVT transmission trainer, but some of the same principles will apply and be able to help you with your other projects. In addition to the Arduino Mega, I've also included a 16x2 LCD display to that'll say what gear the transmission is in. This is all powered currently off my laptop for the Arduino board and off a 12-volt lawn and garden 12-volt lawn and garden battery for the relay and the LED outputs. So just a quick little orientation with this. If I made it work with an IR remote, just a TV remote, and that sends signals to this sensor. This sensor will then give information to the Arduino Mega. The Mega will then send two outputs, one to the LCD display, which will display the gear selection, and then the other output will go to the relay board, which will then turn on the lights in this case, but normally it'll shift a solenoid. So if I went ahead and hit 1, so our lights flicked there. The way I have it set up is it's going to kick the transmission into neutral for 500 milliseconds. It's going to turn on the solenoid to shift the transmission into first gear, then after 2 seconds shut that solenoid off, because in my trainer it's using air solenoids and they don't need to be on for the duration of the test. But you can also see on my LCD screen, I know it's a little hard to see, but it says forward 1, and if I change it to 2, it'll change to forward 2 and do the same thing with the lights. Now let's take a look at the code. To start off, we have included the included sections are the information pulled out of my libraries. When you see the # include, that's just telling the computer to go to these libraries, and there's information there, like these command lines that are specific to those libraries. The liquid crystal command here is an excellent example of that. So right here I've defined where the liquid crystal information is coming from. That's coming from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Those are the pins on the LCD display. We're calling the input receive pin 3. That's the pin that's going to have the information coming in for the IR remote. This IR receive command, that's allowing the Arduino Mega to take information from the IR receiver, getting information from my remote, and then we're going to decode the results from the IR receiver. That's converting the infrared signals into alphanumeric code, and then it'll interpret that code. Then we have a few other inputs, relays 1 through 12 on pins 22 through 32. Those are just going to be the outputs for the transmission for the relays that are going to shift it, and specifically the solenoids that the relays are going to act on. So now we're going to go to the void setup. So we're going to start up our LCD screen. Got to define it as 16 columns by 2 rows. Starting off, we're just going to clear the LCD right away, so anything that's been left on there is going to be cleared off and you'll have a blank slate. So we're going to enable the IR receive input, so that we're just turning on that number 3 that we discussed just a little bit earlier. So I put in a pin mode command. That's just saying that that pin on the Mega computer board can be turned on or off, kind of as the computer sees fit. So we have pin mode, and we're calling them all outputs, meaning that the board will turn them on to 5 volts or 0 volts, and it won't receive any information and any data on that. So then I have this void translate IR, so that's just translating the signals again, and it's translating those signals in terms of these case commands. So to do a case command, these aren't very kind of hard to find information on them. What you're going to do for those is you're going to make a switch command, and those will work for the case. So we're going to say switch results value, and those are the results that the IR receiver are taking in. So we have case 0x6BC 0x6BC 6597B. That's the alphanumeric number that the computer sees when I hit 1 on the remote. And that is really going to turn. So what I've done here is let me take a step back and explain how the relay board works. The relay board works specifically on being grounded out. So normally, if you don't have a relay board and you're just trying to turn on a simple circuit, you would digital write whatever your output is high, and that would send 5 volts there, and usually it would turn on your output or your light or whatever you have. But in this case, the relay board works by grounding out those circuits. So to start off, I've digitally righted all the relays high. So that's going to shut everything off and give us a clean slate right off. Then delay 500 milliseconds. Then digitally write relays 9, 10, 11 are the centering solenoids. Then we're going to go ahead and digital write for, delay for 1 second or 1000 milliseconds. And then we're going to turn on those centering solenoids, which is going to shut them off since it says high there. And then we're going to turn on relay 1, which is actually going to shift the gears on the transmission. And then we're going to delay for 2 seconds while that's on. Then we're going to shut it back off. Like I said, so we won't, in this case I'm shifting it with air and the trainer. We just won't have air leaking by for that time. And this is going to happen for all the cases that I have on my remote. On my remote, I used the transmission has forward gears 1 through 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 shifts the gears. 7 and 8 are reverse 1 and 2, and then 0 is neutral. So you see that kind of matches all my code here. As we scroll down, I believe I forgot to explain this first line here, the LCD clear command. That's just going to clear the LCD once that alphanumeric code is read by the IR receiver, and then it's going to LCD print. It's going to prevent reverse 1 in that case, or reverse 2 in that one, and you can kind of see how that all works. For the remote, I went ahead when I took my alphanumeric codes, I went ahead and solved all of them and then wrote them in. You can see here in some cases not valid. That's going to be a number like 6 or something that doesn't really do anything. That'll just tell the operator that pick a different number. And you can see there are quite a few of those. So now if we go down to the loop, we have if and if command. Those work very similar to like if and then statements that we use in English. An if command, and that's saying we're going to decode the IR remotes and the results, and just means then solve the results. Then we're going to translate the IR receiver, which is changing the flashes of infrared light into an alphanumeric code. That's up here. And then it's going to IR receive resume. So once it receives that first value, once it receives a value from the remote, it'll log it and then get ready to receive another one. So that's essentially the workings of the code and the relay board, the LCD, the Arduino Mega, and your power source. And that's all. Thanks.